Hi, I'm Phil.
And I'm Kate.
And this is The Underground, coming to you live from Glee 2024.
Ooh.
So without further ado,
let's get down and dirty.
And we're joined today by Simon Mayhew, who's the category lead electronics FMCG media at eBay.
Afternoon, Simon.
Afternoon.
So eBay are the key sponsor for Glee this year. So can you tell us a bit about what the garden sector is that you're interested in?
I think the beauty of eBay is that we can sell everything. We have these limitless shelves. So we can offer everything you need for the garden or gardening. We'll have sole traders on the site. We'll have huge manufacturers, the biggest brands selling directly on our site as well. But I'm particularly keen to develop what we call like the re-commerce opportunity.
Okay.
So we would love manufacturers to sell their clearance stock on the site.
Right.
We would love for some of the garden tools businesses to sell their refurbished products on the site. So there was a panel earlier on, and Flymo were talking about the certified refurbished program that we have at eBay and how successful that's been for them. We'd love more brands to participate in that as well.
Okay. So we're not saying that eBay is just another sales channel. What makes it so different?
I think it's much more than it is a sales channel. It's an extra opportunity for brands or smaller sellers to kind of showcase their products to a huge number of shoppers from around the country. Mm-hmm. But I think it's also an opportunity to kind of, particularly for brands, to influence and tell their story. You know, if those shoppers are coming onto our site and they're searching for products, there are so many opportunities for the brands to kind of talk about their credentials, to talk about how they're different and how they're strong and better than the competition.
So what sort of products actually sell best on the platform then?
I think the things that perform particularly well this year would be things like tools, so lawn mowers, strimmers have performed particularly well. And as I've mentioned already, we have the certified refurbished program that kind of differentiates us versus other people. Mm-hmm. But then also like the essentials, like weed killers, they'll always be strong performers for us. Okay. So they're probably the ones that stand out.
So I'm interested in that you say lawn mowers sell quite well. I mean, that's a big purchase, and they do well through eBay with people not seeing them, not trying them out.
That's
quite an interesting one, I find.
The thing with eBay is like it kind of amazes me, like the quantities that the people will be buying. So I mean, also under my remit is things like DIY materials, and you'll be buying those in vast quantities, huge sizes. So a lawnmower coming in a pretty compact box is pretty easy to ship and works really well.
Right, I suppose never think about it like that. So, I mean, you've kind of mentioned about that, but why do you think eBay is such a good fit for the garden sector?
I think the first reason would be the sheer amount of choice. I mean, the thing that strikes me being at Glee today is just the amount of brands, the amount of different type of products, how they vary by season. It's really hard for someone to go to a physical store and be able to buy everything they want. And particularly if you're a specialist and you know your things and you're looking for particular brands and particular types of products, I think that's where eBay can help you in terms of we will offer those products and you will have them delivered to your home really conveniently and very, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And as I said before, it's not just the big brands. It will also be smaller products, smaller businesses that are offering unique products that you might not be able to buy from your local store. Yeah. You'll be able to access those as well. So it's convenient, a massive choice. At the same point, they offer great value as well.
Is it fair to say, though, that there's still a perception of eBay as an auction site and, for selling second-hand products?
I think definitely there's a perception of second-hand. I mean, re-commerce, pre-loved, refurbished, these are all things that are really important to us and are growing really quickly.
Right.
So I think that perception is right and perhaps will strengthen. That doesn't mean to say that we don't have a huge new business.
Right.
And we do. Mm-hmm. I think the auction piece is interesting. Like, we do offer that functionality.
And that's how it started.
That's the heritage, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's important, particularly in certain categories. But I think if you went onto the site now, lots of the listings you'd see would be buy it now, because it's just a lot easier and more convenient for shoppers.
Yeah. So is eBay better suited, especially within the garden sector, for manufacturers or for distributors?
Ooh,
or both?
Yeah. The reality is we've got so many examples of it working for both. So there are lots of manufacturers that have their own dedicated stores on eBay and are shipping their orders directly to customers. I think there are certain requirements in order for that to work well. So you've got to have the resource and the expertise within your business in order to make that happen. You also need the customer service teams in order to respond to queries quickly. There are other businesses that don't meet that criteria, and therefore they can use the distributors. And there are many like 3P partners out there that have the expertise, that have the resource, that will be able to support those businesses selling on eBay. So I think it just depends on who you are, what level of resource expertise that you have within your business. We have examples of both working really well.
So you mentioned 3P there. So just for people who aren't aware, there's third-party logistics type companies. Is that
it varies. It does get complicated because you'd have some that will be just logistic partners. You might have somebody that will manage your store on your behalf. And therefore they will activate all the listings. They'll pick the orders and fulfill them. And therefore it'll be a case of you just selling in, or maybe giving them access to your inventory.
Right.
Okay. So what tips would you give to a manufacturer or a distributor who's wanting to sell products on your platform? What tips would you give them?
Come and see us would be the first one. So obviously,
have you actually got a stand here?
We've got a stand here. Right. Yeah. So please come and see us. Come and talk to us. We've got a team of experts that will support you. Aside from that, I think it's really worth starting with the question of, what do you want to get out of it?
Right.
Do you want to just sell your top sellers, or do you see it as an opportunity to sell products that might have low distribution in physical stores, so the tail of your range, and open up nationwide access? Do you want to use this as a channel to sell your clearance stock? Do you want to use it as a channel to kind of sell your returns? That could be another opportunity. How would you differentiate your range on eBay, maybe versus physical stores, or maybe versus other online retailers? These are all things to kind of ask and work through. And then you can get to the next stage, which is, okay, we know what we want to achieve, but how do we do it? Do we do that direct by integrating our own direct D2C store, direct consumer store, or do we talk to a third party that can potentially support us and execute that strategy?
Right. So, I mean, I've done quite a bit of work with Amazon, and I mean, trying to get to speak to an account manager at Amazon is an absolute nightmare. Unless you're a really big player, it can be really difficult to get to speak to somebody and get the support that you need if you're a small business. Is there support there for a small business that eBay can provide? And
I think it's a good question. I think one of the differentiators of us versus other marketplaces is our accessibility. You know, we have a dedicated customer service team that will support you. And you can reach out to us. For new people coming on board, we have particular programs like what we call Startup Scale Up, which will support businesses launching on the site and then kind of growing really, really quickly. So all of these things are accessible to the sellers.
Okay.
So in relation to, I'm going to ask a question that isn't on the sheet. How are garden centre groups? How are they with you? Do they feel threatened by you, especially at an event like Glee, or are they kind of open to talk to you?
I think what I love about this role is I'm not a competitor. So eBay don't have any stock. So all we're trying to do is help you, or help the seller, the garden centre, grow as fast as they can to kind of to keep as many eBay shoppers as happy as possible.
Right.
And therefore, we're very much a partner.
Right.
So if the garden centre goes through that process of understanding their objectives, then we can definitely support them in terms of reaching more shoppers. And potentially helping them get rid of clearance stock, or maybe open up some of those listings to more of a huge audience of customers.
Right. Interesting. Okay, so is this your first time at Glee?
I thought, when I was wandering around just a minute ago, it suddenly dawned on me that I was here a very, very long time ago.
Oh, really?
So my first ever job was a graduate buyer at Safeway. And I was
that's showing it as Safeway a while ago.
I know, exactly. This is how old I am. And I was the horticulture buyer. That was my first ever job. And I remember coming to this and and being like absolutely blown away by how many businesses attended it and the kind of range that was offered. So I think I've been once before, but it was a very, very long time ago.
Yeah, fascinating.
So how are you finding it this year? And has anything caught your eye?
I love gardening. So
that's good.
I'm new into this role, but it's a job that I've always wanted. Right. And I was saying to my wife that I was going to this event, and I can't wait to wander around and just see all the different stands. In terms of things that I've been kind of taken back by, you know, in a biased perspective, I really enjoyed the panel discussion that Hannah from our team had with Flymo and Marshalls. I think it's really nice to talk about or hear from businesses about the tools that they use on eBay to grow their business, how their strategies change, and they're talking about how they like to test and learn and use us as a way to kind of understand the market better. And then for Flymo to kind of praise our certified refurbished program so much, it was fantastic to hear. So I very much enjoyed that session, but I personally need to go and find a scarifier. I'm tired of doing the manual process.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to go and try and find the best one that's out there.
Well, it's autumn. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah, it's good hearing you know what a scarifier is.
Oh, it's all done. It's already. It's already. Yeah, the lawn is regenerating right now.
Brilliant.
Well, there's so many lawn companies here today to go and talk to.
Oh, okay. Well,
there's loads of amazing experts around.
Okay, so, I'm definitely going to have conversations with them later.
Yes, definitely.
It's interesting what you were saying, though. Taking you back a couple of questions when Kate was talking to you about whether you felt that eBay was a competitor to the garden centres, and I think your proposition is really interesting because you're not coming and say, "Oh, sell all your stock." You know, we'll just take it all, and we'll give you a store within our store. You know, and you can load all your stock on there and everything. You actually say, "No, actually, we want your returns. We've got this refurbished program." It's those bits, maybe the bits which you find hard to sell. Yeah. You know, there isn't a natural marketplace for those things. Yeah,
exactly that. I mean, the point I always make to people is that the sellers are in complete control.
Right.
It's their business on eBay. I think my points around clearance and certified is just to encourage them to kind of differentiate and think about us in a slightly different way. Yeah. But ideally, I'd like them to put every single item on the website.
And maybe a smaller company that worked really well. But for the larger companies that need to support some of the bigger retailers and that sort of thing, it could well be seen as direct competition and not good and damaging to their business.
Yeah, exactly. But and you're right, there's a kind of a different, there's an eBay way is kind of how I would describe it. And there's an opportunity to differentiate your inventory and your strategy versus your other channels, delivering incremental sales, which is exactly what Flymo were talking about earlier on.
Right. No, I think it's fascinating.
Yeah. Have you seen that there's been a drop in sales with the weather we've had this summer, or has that not really hit eBay sellers?
I think everyone here would say that the weather was it the worst summer in 9 years?
Yeah, and just the wettest, coldest.
And this area is so seasonal.
Yeah.
I think what I like about what Hannah and my team has done is that because we've been able to offer more brands, different types of inventory like certified refurbished, we can very much mitigate that weather impact.
Right.
I'm particularly excited about what we can do right now, and we've had the conversations about regenerating your lawn and autumn.
Definitely.
All of the things that go on right now.
Yeah.
Perhaps in the past we haven't made the most of that, but this year I think we're really going for it. And you suddenly realise the kind of breadth of categories that you can cater for. Like you've got lighting, heating, fencing, sheds, bulbs.
So much.
It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And
people don't realise.
No, they don't. And we kind of, and understandably, you will focus on the spring opportunity. But for us, where we're not space constrained, we need to make the most of it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in to talk to us, Simon. Really found it fascinating getting that insight and understanding the proposition from eBay, because I must admit, when I heard you were coming on, I was like, oh, what are we going to talk about? eBay and gardening. I'm not sure, but I understand the proposition now. It's really fascinating.
Yeah,
really
definitely.
Good.
And I've bought on eBay for gardening many times.
Good. Please continue to do so. Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you.
Hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Oh dear, listen, we're twins now. We've been doing this too long, Phil.
Right.
Thanks, Simon.
See you later. Bye.